So again, just wanted to get a little bit of information about where you've traveled from for the conference this week.
Okay, I live in Canmore, Alberta, which is an hour west of Calgary, and half an hour from said sunshine that we were talking about.
Yes. So you come directly from Canmore?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Some people have taken multiple journeys to get here. So.
Yeah. Well, if you look back through my last few weeks, there would be a number of other places, but I actually did pass through Canmore on my way.
You passed through.
I actually spent a couple of nights there. So.
Okay, I had a chance to repack the suitcase.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, your story, why you got involved in Agile, or sort of what your involvement is.
How long do we have?
As long as you want.
Okay, why am I in Agile? Well, let's see. It all started back when... I've been in this business 30 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And did big system development for 14 years. Nortel telephone switches. Mm-hmm. Things that make the discussions about scaling here, almost laughable.
Yeah.
That was a medium-sized team for us.
Okay.
And then eventually I got invited to move out west and work for a small consulting company doing object-oriented design and development, and then that just sort of led naturally to, and I knew Kent Beck from the Hillside Group, from the Patterns community, and so I was one of the early readers of his book on extreme programming, and I debated it with him at various things as to how it could not possibly work, and he debated that the processes that we followed could not possibly work. So we were both wrong, because there were existence proofs in both cases how they could possibly work. But that got me intrigued enough to want to try out, and so the first true Agile project we did full on XP, teaching ourselves how to write unit tests and do TDD and all that kind of stuff. So it was interesting. Along the way, we learned all sorts of issues with what happens when you don't know how to write the unit tests well, which actually led many years later to my book.
Right.
But it was many years of experience and looking for solutions to those problems of where the tests are holding you back, where the tests are the things that are making it expensive to change the code. So in that sense, I guess I've been sort of beating the drum about test code craftsmanship, as longer than Bob's been beating the code craftsmanship drum. But that's sort of how I ended up in Agile, and then from XP to sort of more generic Agile, drop in the appropriate buzzwords like Sprint and Scrum Master and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all stepping back from the more extreme version of Agile that we were doing back in 2000. So that's how I got into it.
Okay, interesting. Nice journey. It's still a journey.
It's still a journey.
Yes.
I mean, I'm always looking for interesting things to do. So
yeah.
I always want to do stuff I'm going to learn something on. So.
Yeah. Good. Well, I wanted to ask why you chose the topic that you did for this year's conference.
I didn't choose the topic.
Okay. Was it when it was given to you?
Well, no.
Or was asked of you?
I was asked to propose some topics because they wanted me to come and talk.
Yeah.
And so I gave Eugene a list of possible topics. He said, okay, can you do this one as a tutorial and this one as a session?
Right.
So the second order question is, why did you propose those particular topics as part of the list? And that has a somewhat similarly banal answer, which is there's a bunch of topics I could have spoken on, but I've spoken on some of them at previous iterations of this conference, and so the policy is not to repeat. So those ones are off the list, so that left me with a shorter list.
But still interesting enough for you to obviously...
Yeah, and some of them are some of the topics I've been talking at conferences for longer, 2 or 3 years. Others, this year is the first year I've been talking about that specific topic.
Yeah.
I mean, conference speakers, We don't invent brand new talks for every conference otherwise.
No. It's a full-time job, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. So there is some talk reuse
Yeah.
and some talk customization that goes on.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
biggest challenge here is that the tutorials are half an hour shorter than everywhere else.
Right. Okay. So
Which,
to
when
cut
you
that
discover
down-
this during the middle of your presentation, and you realize, oh, we're supposed to be done by 12?
Okay.
Inevitably results in even more slide flipping at the end of the
Yeah.
presentation than your usual,
Yeah.
you know, overrunning the normal schedule. You're overrunning a schedule that's been shortened by
Yeah.
half an hour.
Now, obviously, a lot of people have been talking about sort of elephants in the room during this conference as part of the conference topic. What's an elephant that sort of you've seen in your world? An example, if
Well,
possible.
the elephants, I guess, I have a problem with that question in the sense that the elephants are the things that we all pretend aren't there.
Yes. Yeah.
So I didn't see them.
Okay.
Because if I'd seen them,
Then.
so, I'm not quite sure how to answer that question.
Right. What's something then that you've seen? Where do you see Agile in the next sort of 10 years going? You know, forgetting sort of the past history. What do you see for the future of Agile?
Maybe a small percentage of the world will actually get good at it.
How? Is there a way forward? Is there?
Well, to pick up on some of Linda's themes, the problem is that there are too many people out there, especially in the late majority and the laggards, who aren't interested in learning and don't want to take chances where they might not look good.
Mm-hmm,
And so, why is so much of the world doing software development badly? So, yeah, I think that's always going to be split. You know, and heavily skewed towards a lot of people doing it badly and a small number doing it well and always looking for how to do it better, because that's, human nature. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, I'm glad that there's lots of people here who are trying to answer the question, what can I learn, how can I do things better? But I'm betting that for every person who's here, there's 10 or 100 not very far from here who aren't anywhere near as keen to disrupt things and risk failure.
Yeah.
So, will Agile get better? Oh yeah, no question. What replaces Agile? No idea. If I was that good at predicting the future, then I wouldn't be building software for a living. I'd be doing other things that pay much better. And 20 years from now, will we still have systems that we define? Will we still be writing brand new legacy systems with unmaintainable code? Absolutely, I'm sure we will.
Much cheer.
But in some ways, that's good news, given that I'm in the business of consulting.
Yeah.
People only call me when they're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
So.
You still need to want to have the problems for the future. Well, obviously we talked about not so much elephants in the room, but can you give me sort of a success story? Obviously you're consulting, and a success story, the original question was from the elephants in the room, where there has been a success story, where a company has taken the practices and used them to solve a problem.
Oh, yeah,
Or
yeah.
to make an elephant aware, at least become aware of a problem, and then
Well,
attempt to solve it.
Well, let's pick the technical debt elephant. I have a client that most people in Canada would recognize, who has a large legacy code base. And I've been going there for 3 years now, doing training, teaching them how to do automated unit testing. Largely, but probably more C++ than Java. So, large, ugly legacy systems written in complex languages. And I recently had a beer with the director who originally brought me in to sort of solve the problem in his little area. And he's telling me, oh yeah, the executives are noticing. You know, he says if we, you know, yeah, you know, we have some new functionality that product management wants, and we say, well, you know, the code to do that over here, we can tell you how long that's going to take. It's going to take this long. That part over there, well, we're not really sure. And the executive said, well, why is there such a difference between this part and this part, this functionality? Well, this part we've got tests for.
Yeah.
We've added automated unit tests or automated component tests to this code. So we have a much higher level of understanding of the code and understanding of what it's going to take to change it, and confidence in being able to make the changes. Over here, all bets are off. We don't know how long it's going to take, because we could break something in such a way that it'll take us weeks or months to fix it. And he says the executives are noticing. So now, you know, I started off with a small group, a group of 50 people, one department. You know, we trained everybody, and now apparently there's a committee on improving unit testing in the company, and so potentially hundreds or even thousands of developers will end up getting trained at some point about unit testing and dealing with their legacy code base, because that's part of what we teach, is how to sort of start getting it under control. How to start, you know, putting some rope around one of the elephant's legs, because you can't get it around the whole elephant, so you've got to find an appendage and start strangling it.
I like that analogy. Super. Well, that was the last of my questions. That was great.
All right.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, great.